Hi everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday. I don't know if I actually have started on time or not because I got distracted playing through a little song idea. Guitar's fun. How about that? Who would have thought? It's I've been looking forward to this. Jumping back into doing a little live stream, kind of being available to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Yeah, and so it's really I'm armed this week. I'm armed with energy drinks for the tough questions, and the essential guitar practice items of gummy bears, because hang on. I'm dropping them because gummy bears help you play the guitar better for sure. But I thought, if there's hey Marcus, how's it going? As per last week, if you were on or if you weren't, or if this is your first time jumping on and being like, what is this thing all about? Sorry, I am eating gummy bears now. But yeah, feel free to put questions in the chat, and occasionally you'll see me, lean in and figure out what it is you're asking. Otherwise, there's a few things that I'll share that I've been up to as well. But look, kicking it off, Marcus. Yeah, the Switch 6. So I have the Voicelive 3, and that's my main effects unit. It's a multi-effects all-in-one system. Obviously, a bunch of you use it. I do use the Switch 6, not all the time. Hey Phil, hey Florian, nice. Oh, a late breakfast, excellent. I hope you have a tasty breakfast. I'm not going to I'm not going to make up songs, although that would entertain me. Singing about what you're all up to. So who knows? Maybe we'll we will do that. But the Switch 6, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I don't actually have with the Voicelive 3 a set pedal board, which is debatable whether it would just be smarter to have everything rigged on a pedal board and take that. The reason I like having just the Voicelive 3 just for space, depending on where and what I'm playing, and depending on the show. I don't need anything else. Like, that includes the OC3. Sometimes I don't take it. Or I should say I take it, but I don't set it up. Depending on different shows, I just don't use it. And same with the Switch 6. So when I run it, I typically have it, if the Voicelive 3 is this way, I have the Switch 6 at the left end going down that way. And that's kind of how I run it. And the two ends of the Switch 6, the one closest to me, I have for, again, I change settings a little bit, but I usually have as cycling through the loop inputs. So at the moment, I've just got the Voicelive 3, and I have it set up so that the step button is goes to the loop screen. So at the moment, there's no option for me, unless I grabbed out the Switch 6, there's no option for me to switch during looping while a loop's playing. So that's the main thing I use the Switch 6 for. I have an all mute at the very other end, and next to the all mute and erase everything. So if I just want to quickly get rid of loops, then I find that super handy. And then the other two, I've experimented with all sorts of different options. There's lots of cool things you can do with the Switch 6. Like, you can set it to instantly record, regardless of what screen you're on, instantly start recording your loop A. So, which I think is a pretty cool thing. It means that if you're on a vocal screen, if you're on the looper screen, if you're on the guitar screen, you've got one button set just to go straight into your looping. So I think there's a lot of options. I know a lot of you are using it. differently, and really there's 101 other different things. I think I had from memory the wah effect assigned to it, and honestly from memory I'm not sure what the last one is. And depending on watching this video back, I'm not sure if I can count to 6 either. I'll be like, I use, but I don't actually use really all 6 pedals. I could probably do quite happily with the Switch 3, and it would make it a nice smaller size, I guess, for creating pedal board sort of stuff. So yeah, hi everybody, welcome. If you haven't said hi, say hi, or don't if you don't want to, of course. But it's nice being back here and chatting live, and I don't know, we might play some music, we might do all sorts. What do we got? Mark, verse, chorus, bridge, and looping, especially how do you get an interesting bridge? I like this. I'm assuming, let's say we've looped a verse on one loop and a bridge and a chorus on loop B. I'm guessing you're kind of curious, like, okay, when we get to the bridge section, how do we make this interesting? And hopefully, hey, Ozzy, right? Hi, how's it going? Stephen, nice. Marcus, I will have a proper read. As you can tell, I'm a little bit like a magpie, like shiny things jumping from one thing to the next. But Mark, going back to your question, there's a few things we can do, and I did do a video about making track A a rhythm track so that you can keep that going with your bridge. The other thing I would look at in terms of sound or changing things, like having an interesting bridge, is maybe even using the step function on the Voicelive 3. If I don't know if you're using the Voicelive 3, but you could have obviously something set up for this, or you could use an effect pedal that maybe it's purely just a different reverb and a different sense of space. The thing that comes to mind most, Mark, at the moment is the little bridge from just because I've been talking about it, I guess, a lot lately, the Sting and the Police, Englishman in New York. And if you kick on a slightly different effect for this bridge, not only are we taken somewhere differently with the chords, because it's obviously a bit of a change, but we've now got a reverb or a different effect happening as well that maybe just builds that ambiance, especially if you're slowing down what you're playing. So I don't know. I'm like, does that answer your question? You're using the Ditto X4? Okay, cool. There's, yeah, in terms of the effect thing, I would probably say that the Ditto is not gonna give you the option for what I just talked about, but you could run another effect pedal before the Ditto, and that would allow you to do either of those options. So I'll put a link to that video. It's a video, I think it's called Looping 2 or More Sections, and it talks about keeping the rhythm on one track, which you can do with the Ditto X4. And then on your second track, you might want to have the, let's say, a verse. It means that then you can play both the chorus and the verse, the chorus and the bridge, which would be not on a loop, but you can keep the rhythm going from like track 1. So I hope that makes sense. If you want to get really technical on it, and this is a little bit tricky to do with the Ditto, but you could record the rhythm on track 1. You could record track 2 next, maybe the verse. You could record you could overdub then on track 1 the chorus, and when you got to the bridge, you could use the undo feature to undo on track 1 the chorus that you just recorded. So hopefully that makes sense, but it's sort of like doing the undo thing will remove the very last thing you did on any loop pedal, but that would be the structure. Track 1 would be, and you could start with either or, the rhythm or the chords, but if you started with the rhythm on track 1, the first loop on track 2, overdub back on track 1, the next kind of chord loop, and then remove or undo that overdub so that you're back to just the rhythm for a different section. So I hope that makes sense. It's a kind of long way of putting it, and will take a bit of practice and foot dancing to get sorted. Right, greetings from the UK. Nice, I like this. With a bunch of people from the UK, from Germany. Nice. Nice, Phil. So you're straight into the looper. Set tempo. Nice. That, I think, honestly, I think that's a pretty tasty option. Just going back to talking about the Switch 6, having set tempo, especially if you're doing some stuff with delay or with looping. Sorry, I'm thinking of two different things. With your looping, if you're using the actual timing from the Voicelive 3, but then I also like, sorry, the tap tempo if you're doing some stuff with delay on the Switch 6. You've got the octave down. Nice input. Okay, cool. Yeah, so some similar things in there, and the cool thing I think with what TC Helicon do is it's so customizable, and it's also the frustrating thing for those of you that have one, because it is so customizable that it's kind of like, where do I start sometimes? So, right, Stephen, how do I avoid the resonance? I typically use a feedback buster that sits in my guitar here, and that cuts out a lot of that resonance. I think, I'm not sure if you were on last week, but you can hear really clearly in the loop I did, my voice. It sounds muffled because it's just the resonance being picked up by the guitar, by the pickup, and then going through the system. But yeah, I use a feedback buster, and it helps subdue, obviously, other vibrations going in here and getting included in the mix. It doesn't kill it completely. And then the other thing adding to that is the room and size of space you're in and how loud you are. So if you're singing softly, if you're, and playing, you're less likely to pick up the vocal sound. But if you've got a monitor coming straight back at you, then often it's very, very tricky. And the more you overdub and layer things while you're singing, it can be a problem. And sometimes it is a case of I've done it where I've just looped the chords first, got into a groove without singing, and taken some more time just because it's a problem. So yeah, sometimes it definitely happens. Cool, nice. Aussie music. Yeah, hey man, it's like, yeah, look, it's a super, super interesting time at the moment for music. And yeah, look, basically what I'm doing is taking this time to practice a whole lot, and I'm really enjoying making videos and creating content and connecting with you guys. So it's definitely an interesting time, and like everyone else at the moment, I'm not doing any gigs, and I guess I've just switched pretty quickly to being like, hey, cool, I can make videos, I can chat, and I can connect with you guys and share a bit of love. And hopefully what I would love is that out of doing this sort of stuff, it's like we all come out of this as I guess as things ease up and people's panic and frustration and it's kind of like fear as well, right? Of being like, shit, how should I go and hug my friend? Do they have the coronavirus? I don't know. Should I, can I go and play in bars, or are we going to be hiding very far away? And that, so I kind of at the moment I've basically forgotten about it. I'm in a fortunate position where I can pay my rent and buy food and that sort of thing. But I'm honestly, and that, at some point that will be a problem. But I'm honestly just taking each day and being like, cool, I can actually work on some stuff without having a show coming up that will take a lot longer to practice, and not get distracted by kind of mid-practice session or mid-working on one particular style or song, having to go and play a show of a different style and things. So I hope that helps. I hope all of you are finding some cool new things in terms of having time and not doing gigs. And yeah, it is something that will pop up. For me, is just would say, like, concentrate on improving your skills, your voice, your guitar, that sort of thing. So it's like when you get back to gigs, or and that will happen at some stage. None of us really know when, but sure, it's going to happen at some point. And it might look probably a bit different than it did before. But maybe this is an opportunity to update your promo material, so that, like, you can launch when gigs are happening. It's like maybe you've got a super slick web page that you're like, wow, I actually did some cool videos during this lockdown thing and that. So yeah, I hope that's useful. That's me waffling Aussie on my thoughts about it, but I hope that's useful for some of you that are online, because in a funny way, I'm kind of excited about it. It's like suddenly I'm like, I can do all these things, and just, yeah, practice, and then the next day just practice without being like, right, I have to pack everything up and go to a show. So Peter, hi from Denmark. Sorry I'm late. Love it. You're not late. Musicians being late. Oh my gosh, it's not possible, is it? Cool. Effects. Nice. Mark using the Beat Buddy as well. There's a few people jumping on with that. It's pretty cool. I haven't tested one, but yeah, they look pretty good. Dun, dun, dun. Marcus, some of my favorite artists. No. I like it. Steven's perfect solution to the current no gigs is charging his wife and kids to listen to him play for a concert. But she started charging him for dinner. I like it. So Marcus, some of my favorite artists. I love Amos Lee. I think he is a superb songwriter, and his voice just it's so tasty. There's so much in there, and I really feel he's an artist that not only feels the songs that he's doing, but he spans really an interesting range of styles within his music, whilst somehow still being like just kind of singer-songwriter. John Mayer, really love John Mayer, and I started out learning when I was playing Dave Matthews. Super into him, and actually been digging out a few little bits and pieces. There's a beautiful album live at Luther College if you want to go hear some cool guitar work with Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. Might not be a thing, but some pretty tasty guitar work on it. But honestly, my favorite artists merge and change all the time. There's a bunch of cool people all the time. Actually, Matt Nathanson. Yeah, who have I been listening to recently? A bunch of all sorts. Ben Howard. Yeah, but honestly, it would go on and on and on. Nice. Clapton and Sheeran. Cool. Yeah. Honestly, I think Ed Sheeran is great, and I love the video, if you haven't seen it, of him with I don't know if it's a voice memo or a video, but he's on an interview and he's saying, like, you know what, I could not sing. I used to suck at singing. And he used to suck at singing. And he spent a lot of time working on it. And so I think it's really relatable, and that actually inspires me to practice and do more and realize that it is achievable. So yeah. Learning loads of new stuff since yeah, Aussie, I totally agree with that, man. I think there will be a lot of cool stuff that comes out. John Paul, hey man, how's it going? Hi everybody. Yeah, if you joined late, there's no such thing as late, but if you joined late or if you're watching this on a replay, hi, I hope you're having a nice day. And I hope you're having an even nicer day after hanging out. Alan from Perth, how do I go about choosing a set list for a gig? For my original shows, we kind of map out, I say we, but and it is the last few things have been with Shimna, and we try and judge what flavor we're going into and how we want to do a kind of rise and fall of emotion and intensity throughout the show, including finishing with it's this interesting balance of starting with something that people are like, oh, that was cool, or just some connection, and then weaving through that to a point, I guess, at the end where it's like we finish with something that's engaging and connecting. So that's the original side of stuff. For covers stuff, I really don't write full set lists, and the reason for that is I like to be able to see what's going on and change and adapt and say, hey, let's do this, rather than kind of song number 3, song number 4, song number 5. And I think part of that is just it keeps me a lot more fresh and engaged and alive at a gig, whereas it can be easy. I know, sometimes if you've had a busy week, for me, I'm talking for myself here. If I've had a busy week and I'm like, right, there's my set list, I'm just going to go and do it. It's like, I don't kind of pop out of that space, and I can kind of sit in my corner and forget I'm really doing a show and performing to people and just kind of jam away. So, in saying that, I have a bunch of kind of like go-to songs that are much more in terms of feel and vibe. So, like a little, if you like, a little mini list of like, really, I want to get the dance floor cranking. Great. Here's just like 5 songs to get my brain turning. Some just like middle of the road groove sort of stuff, like cool. And then basically a longer list to just like flick through of anything and everything that just, yeah, I will in any given gig be like, as I'm playing something, have that maybe handy and be like, you know what, that'd be cool. So a lot of it is from basically what pops into my brain, man. But I hope that, yeah, is something maybe to consider depending on the show, having some go-to moods, shall we say, rather than necessarily like a set order. So yeah, Alan, I'm not sure. I feel like you were on my wall perhaps from before talking about. I've got a little list of video ideas, and one of them is talking about set lists and choosing songs for gigs. So that's cool. Grimch, hey man, how's it going? I am doing great, actually. Thank you. I have gummy bears, in case you missed that, and energy drinks. So life is good. I drink way too many energy drinks, but I really like them. Can you tell us a little about how you approach counting and timing, especially while looping with different layers? Keep it going. Cool. I don't really think about it a lot, to be honest. Most things looping wise are structured into a kind of time frame in themselves. So then, if we're if I record that, for example, that's my loop, and repeat. So I'm not hugely thinking counting wise. Not sure if this is kind of what you're asking, but I just will. Nice. Let's play a C. But I'm just thinking about the kind of groove, and then again, like this would be one loop, so you can have. And then that's really my loop in terms of timing. I'm really just at this point feeling it. When I go through something in terms of having to learn a complicated rhythm, I basically map it out and I really break it down. The more complicated it is, if it's a timing thing when I'm learning something, I basically go through the 1E and 2E and like map out where everything falls so that I can do it not with the feel, but just get the robotics of what my hand and fingers are doing, whether it's a rhythm, whether it's a little lick or solo line. And I go between doing that and just slowing down. If I'm listening and learning something, slowing it down so I can just really hear and play along and get the feel, and then kind of ignore the actual counting side of stuff. So, but yeah, in terms of looping, I don't really think about it too much. I just want to make sure my first loop is really tight because everything works around that. So if you, and maybe this is part of your question as well, like what I will often do is sing the start of a song if I'm looping before, just in my head, before actually starting the loop. So there's like a little pause mentally while I'm getting myself into that space. So, cool. Beat Buddy's great. Cool. Yeah. Honestly, so many cool bits of gear, right? Oh, nice, John Paul. I look forward to seeing your new video, man. I've actually learned quite a bunch from you. It's been cool. Some of the tech side of stuff, which has been super useful, and setting a few things up online. Create a beat from scratch at a gig or have something pre-recorded. Cool. Good question. So what he's asking is, at a gig, do I create everything live, basically, for the beat, for the rhythm side of stuff, or do I ever have anything that, say, here tonight, I've sat and like recorded and then maybe built a few things up, and I know that it's nice and tight and locked in, and I can save it on the Voicelive 3. There's a bunch of other pedals you can do this as well, save a loop. And so it's actually you playing, but you've done it at home where it's like, cool, you really got into that groove, you've been playing for a bit, and it's just locked in. I don't do anything recorded, but there was a one wedding that I basically did that, and I just did it because it was quite a long build with a rhythm at the start for the loop I wanted to do, and it was as the bride was walking down the aisle. So I put the groove in, and I actually put it in listening to the original song, just so that it all was synced up for their timing, and just the rhythm. This is the most boring rhythm. But whatever it was, I basically played along with the song whilst looping that rhythm, saved it so that then I could start straight in with the chords and the rhythm was there. And I just did that basically during sound check. so that it was, ready to go. But if I was smarter, I probably would have done it at home. Who knows? Cool. I hope that helps, man. I don't think there's any right answer. Is if you're and maybe it's really nice to just have a couple of things that, again, to mix up your show, are pre-recorded, and you've put other interesting things into them that maybe you don't want to do at a show, or maybe you don't want to take. Or let's say for a tambourine, you could put a tambourine into a loop, but if you're doing an intimate gig, tambourine can be really annoying. Whereas in your pre-save loop, you could mix a really nice level and record it and save it in there. So it's just like there's all sorts of options, I guess. So that's cool. Yeah, I hope you guys are having fun. This is kind of fun. I never know what's gonna come up, and honestly, as well, I don't have all the answers. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, and I hope that this is fun for you and you pick up some new things that you can use. It's really just me sharing things that I've come across, or possible solutions and ideas. And I feel like the more ideas we share between us, because I get a lot out of this too, like obviously just from your questions and thinking about everything, actually ticks a lot over my brain. Oh, I wonder that. Yeah, I should try that. So, Mabub, can you tell us how to set the EQ for solo performance without a loop station? Yeah, you've kind of got, I presume you've got a pickup in your guitar of some sort, in which case you usually have some EQ options here, and you may have some EQ options on your mixing desk as well. So I feel like this is a tough one to explain, but I generally like to get at home a nice EQ and a nice sound that I'm like, cool, I'm pretty happy with that. And then at a gig, every room is absolutely different, and every room has, depending on if there's people in it, if there's not people in it, you're going to want to boost and reduce different frequencies. So I feel like this is one of those things where it's just like, it's gonna take time of experimentation, and I'm not the technical person to to probably go through it. But I think over time you do learn. You can hear in a mix and in a room, you're like, oh, it's just kind of muddy. There's too much sort of, and you'll hit a certain frequency where you're like, okay, there's too much of this frequency. But a lot of live EQ stuff is genuinely comes down to what your options are on a mixer, because sometimes there's just not a lot of choice. But if everything's pretty good in the start, in terms of getting that set up at home, then you should be good. I don't know if that answered your question at all. Cool. Wonder if I did. Yeah. Hey, Patrick, honestly, I did some singing before today. I do a lot of vocal exercises, and they're all odd. They're honestly all odd. One of my favorites, I'm gonna get it because it's super good, and I'm just gonna put it up to the screen here. Please hold the line. Okay, I hope you're ready for this. This is from an old yoga book that my mum had, that somehow along the way I discovered, and I looked up vocals in it. And this is what pops up. Oh, no, I'm not even on the right page. Okay, hang on. Oh, this could be fun. I have to remember the page. It's this, I thought it was really on the page, so I thought this would be great. I can just actually go to it. But this is super useful once I find it. Dun, 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 dun. Page 70. Okay, here we go. Like, let's see. I'm gonna try and check out what's on there. So, honestly, pause this video later and you can watch it, or I will put up a picture of this actually on the community tab in YouTube, so you guys can check it out. It is the weirdest thing, and I feel like I should demonstrate it. My bandmates used to give me a lot of shit for this, but it really relieved a lot of tension around the back of my tongue and my voice. And it's something that I understand a lot better what it's doing now from doing a lot of the work with Per Bristow and the and that sort of stuff online. But this is definitely a go-to kind of thing. So let's just you're gonna see the rest of this messy room now. It's not too bad. Perfect. This is basically what the exercise is you're going to be, let's see how this works. You're going to be on your knees, hands facing back towards you, and put your weight on your hands. Bring your head back as far as it goes comfortably, and then drop your jaw. Poke your tongue out as far as it will go. Breathe in. And often, for a lot of us, because we have tension through here, when you breathe in, you might feel that it's tight. Just keep breathing in and allow that to kind of be a stretch and tight. And then as you exhale, you're just going to let out a long ah. And so this is a very odd, like little vocal thing, but it's amazing for releasing and relaxing the tension. And I found it in a little yoga book. But it goes like this. You'd be like, drop your jaw. Okay. And just let out an ah with your tongue out. As a variation, you can kind of move your tongue while you're doing that. It's honestly, it's kind of odd, but I have found it super, super useful for relieving voice tension and giving you, a kind of nice range. It basically relaxes all of these muscles and allows your vocal folds to come together without a lot of else kind of gripping on. Don't worry about how it sounds. It doesn't matter if you're like a bunch of times. If I've been singing a lot, I will feel like I need a cough afterwards, and it's sort of like I just allow that to people, to happen and go through it. So I hope that's useful. I will put up a picture in the community tab on it, because it is super, super useful. You'll probably feel super self-conscious and awkward and odd doing it. And, if you have other people at your house and you don't tell them you're doing it beforehand, they will probably come in and check on you when you do 5 or 10 of them. Just being like, oh. So, Florian, on the VL3, I have it set to smart mode. So, yeah. So, Grinch, thanks so much for taking the time. Wondering if sometimes too much thinking might do no good. Too much thinking about it all. Yeah, fully. I think with a lot of that stuff, it's like do all your practice, and then it's like when you get to a gig and that sort of thing, it's like just trust that you've practiced it and you know what's happening, and it's all good. I am gonna finish up. I feel like I should just finish up with a tune each week, and just because it's nice. I enjoy playing and singing and doing all that. If someone asks you to, I love it. If someone asks you to do a cover of a Lady Gaga song, what is the most appropriate way to have them evicted from the premises? Just security. I just usually get them to. I'm like, if you sing it, sure, absolutely. Love to. And you have to be careful with that, because then sometimes they're like, great. But usually they're gone pretty quickly. Cool. Hey, thanks, guys. I'm gonna kind of wind this up again. We're gonna kind of, I think, and again, this is a new thing for me. I'm gonna try and make it, 30, 40 minutes, something like that. I guess it depends on how far we get into questions and things like that. But I'll be jumping on next week, same time every week. We'll go through some different things. I kind of want to share. I really like Patek. Nice, thanks for that secret vocal trick. I really like that some of this stuff comes up, because there are a lot of things that I think, when I've gone and learned stuff, and I'm constantly looking at things and trying to learn a whole bunch of stuff, it's like, if there's one thing that you can take away that lifts your game, and especially while we're all in quarantine and lockdown and all that sort of stuff, then I think that's a cool thing. And yeah, honestly, feel free to, I know a bunch of you send me messages and that sort of thing as well. Awesome. Feel free to do that. It's kind of nice in this like online setting, because we can actually just chat and discuss and go back and forth. Look, there's a bunch of questions which I'm just not going to get to. Thanks so much, guys. Marcus, I'd love to talk a little bit about scales and modes for soloing, but let's maybe do that another week. I think just super quickly, I think there's two things. One, you need the physical practice to just get the scales and things under your fingers, and it helps with your ear hearing them too. But then I think it's great to start experimenting, and often over a loop, to actually put that in a musical setting. So cheers, Grimsh. Thanks team. I'm feeling like doing a little, let's do a little Amos Lee song and see what happens. This is in perfect response to being like, man, I had a frustrating vocal day, and we'll see if it's working now. I am at ease in the arms of a woman, although now most of my days are spent alone. 1,000 miles from the place I was born. She takes me back home. Cheers. Now most days I spend like a child who's afraid of ghosts in my mind. I know there ain't nothing out there, but I'm still afraid to turn on the light. Well, I am at ease in the arms of a woman, although now most of my days are spent alone. 1,000 miles from the place I was born. When she wakes me, she takes me back home. Yeah, when she wakes me, she takes me. When she wakes me, she takes me. When she wakes me, she takes me back home. Yeah, when she wakes me, she takes me back home. Oh, that's a song that honestly, depending on my voice every day, sometimes I'm just like, oh, this is great. Other times I'm like, oh, it's so beautifully done by Amos Lee. It's a little Amos Lee song. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys jumping on. I hope this was useful. As always, if there's anything I can answer that you want to pick my brains for and on, then I will be on here every Tuesday night. So yeah, feel free to jump on and we'll hang out, and who knows what might come up. But appreciate you all. Have a great day, morning, evening, night, wherever it is in the world that you are. See you guys.